I obviously, you always show up to try to win, but for me, my disappointment is for the team and for National Guard as a sponsor. That it's kind of one of those things that you don't, as a driver, you never really know what you're going to expect. We knew we had a fast race car. We knew that if the race sort of came to us, that we may be in a position to sort of finish top 3, top 5, wherever that might be, depending on how it panned out. But as a driver, I'm smart enough as a rookie to not expect that, no matter what's going to happen, I'm going to come to the Indianapolis 500 my first year and, be in a position to win the race. But as it turned out, we most certainly were, and we were in a position that we should have won the race. And so for me, it's not so much that I'm super, that I'm pissed off or disappointed that, my face isn't going to go on the Borg Warner, but it's just with this team, Panther Racing, that's finished second 3 years in a row now with the National Guard sponsorship, that I really felt like we had an incredible opportunity to get on a big stage for those guys.
JR, as you made that move though around the 83 and suddenly you realized you were in the marbles, what was the thought? What were your thoughts as you knew, maybe you had...
Is this over the public PA? Because there was a few choice words going through my head at that moment, and they were going through my head really fast and really frequently until I hit the wall, and then they were still going through my head there, I guess. I guess I was fortunate to have hit the wall far enough around that I could still, I was like flat chat after I hit the wall to try to get the thing across the finish line. But, it's a helpless feeling driving the race car when you get in a situation like that. It can happen on road courses, it can happen, at other places, but, it's most extreme at a place like this where, it truly does turn into a one-groove track towards the end of the race, and that was certainly my mistake to have, judged it otherwise.
We're back here.
Charlie, this is 4 straight second places, or sorry, Chair. 4 straight second place finishes for the Panther team. What were John's words to you at the end?
John was great. I mean, he's just so proud of this group of guys for putting up such a tremendous effort throughout the day, and that was certainly a welcome, welcome face and emotion for me walking down the pit lane, because sometimes you never know what you're going to get, from a team when you've just lost the Indy 500, by spot or whatever. But he's a real driver's owner from that perspective. That he's ultra competitive, but at the same time, he can understand, I think, the emotions of what the driver goes through as well.
JR, you kept the car going. Did you still think you might have a shot of getting there before Wheldon caught you?
I did for a second, just because the mirrors on our cars aren't really that great. So, it was tough to tell down the back straight. I took a glimpse, to see where he was at, and he wasn't anywhere in sort of the near vicinity around the car, which is where the mirrors are, more suited to being able to see. And so there was certainly a split second that I thought, oh shoot, maybe I'll, pull a, whatever it was, Terry Labonte or something at Martinsville or Bristol or whatever it was that year. But, obviously no such luck.
JR, 2 kind of questions here. How close did you think Wheldon was to you on the back stretch? You said you couldn't really see him in his near view, and then kind of... I
knew coming out of... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just in the second part of that is, never mind the finish, would you do the same move again? Would you do it differently?
Well, I mean, to answer the first part of your question, I knew coming out of turn 2 that he was in the short chute between 1 and 2. So at that stage, I obviously knew that he was rather close, but in terms of, distance on the track, that's a little bit of a tough, your spotter can't really give you exact, he could have said car lengths or something to give me maybe a little bit more information about where he was at, but I knew that he was close, relatively close, and I knew that he was going a lot quicker than we were as well. And then to the second part of your question, is it a move that I would do again? No. I think it's the only reason that I did it in the first place is because it had worked at different stages earlier in the race, but in hindsight, I think that with the tires being as used as they were at that stage, and the run, that last run after the caution being for so long, that's obviously a learning experience for me that the marble buildup is quite severe.
Chair, as you were sliding down the fence towards the finish line, was there anything you were able to do to hurry the car along, or you were just helpless sitting in the wreckage?
I was flat on the gas, man. I mean, what are you going to do at that point?
As much as you possibly could.
Say that again?
And it was theoretically driving the car ahead as much as you conceivably could.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't, well, after I hit the ball, I was not slowing down, to the start-finish line. And then obviously I got to the point that I couldn't steer it anymore, so, but yeah, I was making every effort at that point to try to lessen the blow.
Over here to your left.
Yeah.
It's been an odd month in that, the Penske's haven't performed, the Ganassis were there. John is, and Panther have taken on the biggest teams at Andretti.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the little guy coming on? Was this very what was it about May that allowed the little guys this year to compete against the big guys?
No, I mean, I could give you a fairly complicated answer to that in terms of what I would really say, but I think in a general sense, and this is just speculation on my part. It has nothing to do with anything. But I think that with these cars, we've gotten to a point that you can kind of rub on them and make changes, all day long. But they're effectively kind of a similar formula that we've been running for quite some time here, and that I guess as I've experienced a little bit on the road course side, it's not difficult to overcomplicate what you're doing. It's in the end, it's still just another race car, and I can't say that that's what's made other teams do more poorly than you might expect, but I think that's a part of what's allowed us to continue staying up towards the top of the sheets all month, which was that we had a fairly simple outlook on what we were going to do, and we stuck to a game plan. And I'd certainly give some credit to Buddy Rice as well, coming along for this weekend. That he's obviously quite a low anxiety personality, and that's between the two of us has kept the sort of mood of the garage area quite sort of relaxed, and I think that's a environment that you make better decisions in. So that'd be my 2 cents.
This could be the final question. We have Graham waiting as well.
Two things. One, you seem remarkably composed for someone who lost the Indy 500 by crashing on the last corner.
I'm pretending well then, I guess. Yeah.
Well, it must be turning you up.
Yes. I don't know if that's a question. Yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's not really like a personal thing right now. I mean, maybe down the road it'll turn into a personal thing that I'll just be, pissed off at myself for not, doing whatever. But, in the end, it's really more about, the people that for me at least, this team has worked so hard, and it's such an integral part of, being here in Indianapolis and being successful in Indianapolis that that's really where, the sort of heartbreak is, for me right now. And that, I certainly wasn't planning my victory speech, but being here on Memorial Day weekend, driving the National Guard car with so many servicemen and women out here, for this weekend, it's really a treat to be a part of that. And it would have been an outstanding feat to be able to get up on the top step of the podium for them as well.
Indeed. Is there a glimmer of hope? There's some talk about.
I don't know. I heard something about
the yellows
and blah, blah, blah.
Your own
yellow flags have determined this race in the past. If you would recall, I'm sure Mr. Paul Tracy would be happy to come in here and talk to you a little bit more about that. But we'll just kind of see how it shakes out. Dan and those guys. I would have to say for whatever it's worth that Dan obviously must have done quite a job, because he was a few steps behind those cars that were up at the front, prior to that stint. So good on him to get up as well.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it.